Hello, everybody, and welcome back to DJ Tutorials. Today, I am going to be responding to a comment that I got on my Radeon Prorender 2.4 May 11th release video, which has gotten quite a bit of traffic. I'm a relatively new channel, and I'm glad to see so many people watched it. And there were some good responses. I have it open right here. Pastian Narkistan. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. Um, Really good information on just the engine and stuff like that that I didn't really know altogether. And I actually did get a response from an individual that I pointed out right here. I think he deleted his comment, but this individual right here, he actually commented and recommended that I go to a different place to put some uh, uh, bug fix reports and stuff like that. Um, so far, it seems like I got a pretty good response in general from folks who are looking at this. And obviously, this person right here, they're having a lot of problems with ProRender, which I completely understand and I sympathize with you or empathize with you. And this is part of the issue is that you're on a Mac. Um, like, not to turn this into a Mac versus PC thing, but the fact that you're on a Mac is an issue. Even the developers say that Mac has problems with the way that things work. And from what I could tell, this Vega 48 right here, that is not supported under the release notes for the engine. So I'm very sorry that you have those issues, Robert Harvey. But hopefully some of those issues get fixed, or maybe you could watch my videos on understanding your um, the components and stuff inside your computer, and you'll go with a PC instead of a Mac to help you solve some of these issues in the future. What I want to focus on though is this individual right here, Thomas Johnson, who left a comment here that I think needs some uh, uh, just to be talked about. And I'm not really interested in just like deleting comments necessarily. And I think it's important to have this here so that you guys can see it and look at it. And I don't really mean to call you out, Thomas Johnson. I don't know if you really mean what I'm going to talk about here. But there's quite a few strange things about this comment that I want to point out. So, look, this right here, this is like, Team Red, Team Green, AMD versus NVIDIA stuff that I'm really not interested in. It really doesn't help anybody. What you're saying here is that the problem is that I'm using an AMD GPU, when AMD is the company who's developing the render engine. And according to their own release notes, which I have open here, it's optimized. Where is it? Optimized for AMD CPU and GPU. Okay. So, no offense, sir, but your comment, I don't really think that it's warranted because you're basically saying that they are designing it to not work well with their own GPUs, which is in contradiction to what they're saying right here in their release notes. So, it's a little strange that you said that. So, the next thing I want to talk about here, right here, the terrible OpenCL implementation is causing most of the problems. Um, they this is what this is what their GPUs run on is OpenCL, and according to their own uh, stuff here, okay, let's look at the information from them. Uses open standards, uses OpenCL for or Apple Metal, works across Windows, blah blah blah, and supports both AMD and CPUs, AMD GPUs and CPUs. So it's what they're using. Like they're utilizing OpenCL to create this engine. So I don't really understand what your point is necessarily with that. Like you're saying that because they're implementing a API that they actually support is causing most of the problems. Okay, well, yeah, if that's the issue and they're developing this engine, I think it's really important to point that out, right? Like, I think I just don't really know what you're talking about here. And then you have two 2080 Ti GPUs, and you're saying that the denoiser kills the alpha when using these sorts of things. I haven't run into this issue. I use denoisers and my alphas are clean, so I don't know what the issue is that you're running into. And you're saying that you use Optic X anyways, so it doesn't bother you. Okay, well, look, I use Optic X or Optics when I am using my workstation laptop. And I run into a lot of issues with that system as well because it's a work in progress render engine with a denoiser. And what you're saying here, the speed and stability, all this sort of stuff here, they made a huge step. Okay, that's great for cycles, but we're not talking about cycles. We're talking about ProRender. Like, don't get lost here. Like, don't get lose the forest for the trees. We're not talking about this, and we're not talking about cycles. We're talking about ProRender, and they have a completely different way of utilizing their engine that, in many ways, is actually quite a bit faster, if not the same speed as this system. So again, I don't really understand what you're getting at here. Um, so let's move on from that. All right, the next thing here. This is fine if you see a problem with the color space. Okay. And anyway, it's free and usable. Yes, I understand that, and it's a great thing. I totally support that. Right here, this is what really sticks in my craw. You're saying complaining about that it's maybe not ready for the release in this state. The whole thing is still in development. Yeah, that's why I'm providing a report so that everybody can see what's happening with the newest build. That stuff that was fixed previously is now broken and they should be aware of it. Okay. So the fact that it's in development is not important. The fact is, or the point is that this video is about the 2.4 May 11th release and about issues with it. Okay. That's what I'm pointing out. All right, let's move on from there. There is no final release in a beta state. Okay. Nothing on any of the stuff that's easy that I can find from the website, nor any of the plugin places or the release notes or anything talk about it being in beta. Nothing says that. So if you're trying to send something to a consumer to use, and they're actually using ProRender as a way to talk about their new Radeon 7 Pro that's coming out, they're like, "Hey, this is optimized, for this new render engine." Um, they're trying to like package it and tell people like, "Hey, there's this great product called ProRender that you can use with this GPU." That's a release, okay? Like, if it's in development, but they're still having releases, that's fine. But even the developers themselves say that the betas are in GitHub. So I don't know what you mean here. And you say compare this release to what other companies charge a lot of money for. Yes, I understand that. Octane, Redshift, Arnold, all that kind of stuff. I get it. I actually like using the free stuff as well because I think a lot of it has potential for people to help develop it. And you're saying, these final releases are, crappy and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, when you're paying for something, especially and it has a bunch of bugs, that's a big problem. But I don't see your point here. It says the forums are full of complaints when people realize that they fall for snarky marketing. Okay, fine. Um, and you said here, you should give the boys and girls at AMD some credit. They've done a fantastic job. I believe I spent a few minutes here talking about the developers and giving them credit because I love the engine. That's why I painstakingly work on render engine comparisons and do videos explaining how the engine works. If I didn't love the engine and I didn't want to see it succeed, I wouldn't be doing that. And I wouldn't be going on uh, these websites and be giving bug reports and telling them about the issues if I didn't care about the engine and I didn't want it to succeed. Um, and maybe this doesn't warrant a video, but I thought it was important. At least it's important to me to like tell you guys about this. um I gave this response here that's pretty short in comparison to what I originally wrote, and maybe this is just taking up too much of my time and I should let it go, but I'm not going to. Like, I totally am fine with people giving me constructive criticism, but you should be watching the entire video before you post something like this. Because nothing that I said was these guys suck and these guys are terrible or anything like that. I'm actually providing them free, you know, uh, work to and showing them like for free basically because I'm not charging any money to show them where they can work on stuff. Okay, and again, I'm going to point it out right here. Okay. RPR 2.0 experimental, da 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 da. Um, that when rendering with AMD CPU and GPU, it's dramatically improved as far as the speed. So this whole thing is kind of a way to sell the CPU and the GPU combinations. If the render engine doesn't work right, they're not going to be able to sell more cards, and they're not going to be able to sell more CPUs for people who are professionals, or people like like me do stuff on the side and do stuff professionally. So all of this is to basically support them and give them feedback on their engine. And this is from a person who's been using it for years to do all kinds of projects. So um, the least that I will really ask from any of you guys who are giving me any comments or feedback or anything like that, I'm fine with that and all that. But please make sure that you watch the whole video and understand more about the spirit of the video, and not like literal interpretation of like certain words that I say or something. So I got no hard feelings really against this person. I hope I don't know if they're subscribed or whatever. I hope they stick around and watch more videos and all that kind of stuff. But like maybe edit this down a little bit, or think about what you're writing before you post it out there for everybody to see. And thanks a lot for listening to me rant, and I will see you guys next time on DJ Tutorials.